When fighting Michael, do it. Do it very slowly. Hello everyone, I just saw the 2018 Halloween. Now this is a direct sequel to the 1978 classic directed by John Carpenter, Halloween. Halloween 2 through Halloween Resurrection, as well as the Rob Zombie films, do not count anymore. This is now the true successor to John Carpenter's original film. Of course, we have Jamie Lee Curtis back as Laurie Strode, this time with Judy Greer playing her daughter and newcomer Andi Matichak as her granddaughter Allison. In addition, we have Will Patton as Officer Hawkins, Toby Huss as Ray, Jefferson Hall as Aaron Corey, Rhian Reese as Dana Haynes, along with James Jude Courtney and Nick Castle as The Shape. This is directed by David Gordon Green. Now, David Gordon Green previously did films like Our Brand Crisis and The Pineapple Express. Him and Danny McBride wrote the screenplay, and yeah, they basically had to cut ties with the convoluted story of the original Halloween timeline to make this film, and I like it. It's one of the few horror films to actually deal with trauma. I think the only other movie I've seen try to do that is Scream, but this one really does it on a post-traumatic stress disorder level. You get to see that Laurie's life has been ruined ever since that night in 1978. Her daughter was taken away from her by the Child Protective Services, so her daughter's fully grown now with a child of her own, and their relationship's kind of strained at the beginning of this. Jamie Lee Curtis gives one of the best performances of her career, and as Laurie Strode, she's very broken, damaged, yet is a warrior more than her character was in H2O. She's kind of like Sarah Connor, where she tries to warn her child, hey, there's this threat, but it's just a really bad relationship there. And she ends up being a little bit closer to her granddaughter, Allison. You can tell Allison really sympathizes with her. And I like Andi Matichak as her granddaughter. She's a great newcomer. There's going to be more of her as an actress in movies, I can tell. I like her character in this. She's pretty much the Laurie of this film, of this generation of high school kids. And Laurie has become kind of, in a way, Dr. Sam Loomis from the original, who's telling everybody that the boogeyman exists and nobody believes her until the boogeyman decides to show up. It's been 40 years and Michael Myers is being transferred to another facility, and he basically escapes and wreaks havoc on Halloween night, setting up one final showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. I like this film. Do I love it? No. There's certain problems I have with it, and I will get into a spoiler review later, but right now, as a non-spoiler review, go down in the comments, in the description. I should have a timetable if you have seen the movie, if you want to know about spoilers, but if you haven't, feel free to watch the rest of this part right now. I like it, though. It's not as strong as Halloween 2 or H2O in some moments, but it's still a good horror film. And as a matter of fact, it's just a good film, period. That's one thing I like about this. It's a well-made film that has a story to tell. The cinematography is very well done. It feels very much like a John Carpenter film, especially more so in the first half. I love this. It has the vibe of the original, all the way down to the recreation of the credit font. The attention to detail is breathtaking in this film, and you can tell that the creators and everyone involved have some real love for the John Carpenter film. Oh, did I mention John Carpenter? Him and his son do the score, and the score is fantastic, among one of John Carpenter's best. There's a reason why he's the maestro of horror, and this score is fantastic. I love Halloween Triumphant. Ray's Goodbye. The Shape Chases Allison is a crazy, crazy good score. I love the score. It really adds a lot more to the atmosphere of this. And as far as the nighttime scenes, they do have a lot of atmosphere. There's a matter of fact, there's some nods to H2O, Halloween 2, and even Halloween 6 and Halloween 4. There's a lot of nods to the previous films, even though they don't count anymore. And I like that. It's almost like a reinvention of all of them fused together into this direct successor. Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode is amazing. I love her dealing with this trauma. She's broken, like I said earlier, but she's determined to kill Michael. They both have a drive towards each other in this. And Michael is more scary and brutal than he has ever been before. I'm scared of Michael Myers. There's some real shit that goes down in this movie. That's all I'm going to say. Go see the movie. you're going to be afraid of the boogeyman. You're going to believe in the boogeyman again because Michael Myers is an evil force in nature in this movie, and I love him in this. He's just brutal. There's moments of comedy, and I actually like the comedy. There's only some moments where I really felt like it just didn't belong, but I like the comedy. It felt like natural comedy. It wasn't like a Marvel movie per se. It was kind of more in the way of like a Scream film, but without being self-aware. It was warranted, I thought. It was a little bit of levity in some of the more intense, brutal moments, but at other times, it kind of took away from the tension. There's been complaints about a dance scene with the school children. I thought the high schoolers were great. I like those characters. I really didn't mind the young characters or the dance. There's one plot twist I'm not going to get into that really, really just comes out of left field. And it's not even done in like a Scream way or even Halloween 4. It's just done in a crazy way where you're just like, what just happened? What's going on? And it takes a while for you to get back into it. And I also feel like Jamie Lee Curtis was underutilized in this film. Overall, you're going to have expectations about how great this movie is going to be, and it may fall short. Nothing is going to be better than the original Halloween or even match it. But I felt like you had some other sequels in the series that were better than this film. Nevertheless, though, they've been so convoluted that if this is the end, this is a solid conclusion and a solid follow-up to the original. I feel like I would like this better if you watch the original 78 film and then this film back to back. Maybe they'll do a double feature on Halloween, I don't know, but it's a really great companion piece to the original Halloween. Even though Halloween 2 takes place right after it, this one really is kind of like an epilogue to that story. We get to learn more of what happened in the 40 years and the effect that night had on all the characters and the town of Haddonfield. Oh man, there is some crazy moments in this, but if I had to give Halloween a score, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5, a 7 out of 10, and a B+. It's one of the better Halloween sequels, definitely better than the Rob Zombie movies and that mess called Resurrection. Don't even talk about that. It's better than most of the sequels. I just felt like it was a little short in parts and moved really fast, and there are certain moments and kind of plot decisions that I did not agree with. And it kind of left me just a tad disappointed, but really more underwhelmed. It's still a great movie, but I feel like it's going to be one of those films you have to watch in repeated viewings to really kind of let it all sink in, but I love the brutality of it. It's been a while since we had a really good slasher film. It's supposed to have been like demonic possession films, and probably since Scream 4 has probably been my favorite slasher film. I love this movie. Like, this is a good old-fashioned horror movie with a little bit of the brutality of the 2000s, you know? And I love it. It's a well-made movie. Finally, there's characters that you give a care about, you know? Other horror movies have characters that are just wanting to get laid, get drunk, get high, and you don't care about them. You're waiting for Michael to kill them. No, in this one, there's characters that you like, and it just hurts when you see Michael go after them. You're just like, no, don't go in there. Don't let that happen. And you're just like, ah. So that with the score and the cinematography, you can definitely tell David Gordon Green hasn't done a horror film. It shows. But for a first-time horror film director, this isn't bad. This is actually pretty darn good. He got a lot of the atmosphere right, and the actor playing the Shape, Michael Myers, is great. Ned Castle came in for some stunt work and some extra scenes, but it was mostly the young actor they have. He does a great job. He's among one of the best since Ned Castle and even the actor who played him in Halloween 4. I love it. I love the mask. I love how Michael acts. This is the first time we've seen the true Michael Myers since the original film. I like the story and some of the others and the action scenes, but Michael Myers has always felt like a different person. This actually feels like an older version of Michael, and maybe even a more brutal version than the one in the original Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare for this Halloween, so if you're a fan of the series, I highly recommend this. Whether you like it, love it, or disappointed, that's going to be up to you, but it definitely is one of the better movies of 2018, and it deserves to be seen for this Halloween season. So yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5, and a B+. That is my score. Feel free to follow me on the Stardust app at Fred Film Fanatic, and be on the lookout for Halloween, in which I'm going to rank all 11 films. Those are my brief thoughts on Halloween, non-spoiler thoughts. Now, it's time for spoilers. So for people who haven't seen it, leave right now, and have a great day. Till next time. Okay, spoiler review now. Halloween has some crazy intense moments. I love that opening at the mental institute and we get to see Michael Myers. He doesn't say anything. He's back to his character from the original film. You have these podcasts like journalistic investigators that investigate like grisly murders and stuff. And they basically find a mask and try to trigger Michael. It's just a really scary scene, but you kind of have an abrupt cut, but I like it because it goes to the Halloween opening. May not be as epic as Halloween 2, but it's still a pretty damn cool seeing like the pumpkin reform and having John Carpenter's score, but above that, the font and credit styling is just like the original 2 films. That is amazing. I love that. So much love put into this, and sure, they hit similar beats and parallels to the original, much like the new Star Wars franchise, but I think the difference is that Halloween actually feels like Halloween still. This actually feels like it's in the same universe as the original film, and I'm glad they went to basics because even though I like certain stuff in the original timeline, or 2 or 3 timelines you count, it was so convoluted that they could have not made a sequel, really, you know? Like, H2O was a perfect end, Halloween 2 was a perfect end. They just kept going out of greed for money. And I hope this is the last one because if they don't follow this up correctly, it's going to be another good final conclusion film ruined by greed. But I love it. I love this. They basically start from scratch and go back to basics of what made Halloween so special to begin with. I love Michael Myers in this. He's a force of nature. He's no longer related to Laurie Strode. They're no brother and sister. So, like, he's just a random guy doing random stuff. And he's pretty spry for a 6-year-old man, I must admit. But that whole opening on the prison bus escape was crazy as well. That kid, he kills a kid! Like, holy shit, man, that was just crazy! Like, that was just crazy of him killing a kid. I was not expecting that, but it was so great because you get to see what Michael Myers is. They tell you immediately who he is in this by his actions. And he's an evil force. I love that whole tracking shot part we saw in the trailer. I really thought he was going to kill that baby in that one scene. I'm like, oh god, they're not going to go there, are they? Then he's like, it's not worth it. Crazy. It surprised me seeing Laurie Strode like this out in the wilderness, but she's prepared. She's a warrior. She's kind of similar to her character in H2O, but they deal more with the traumatic PTSD side of it. And they also deal with how trauma is a generational thing, and it's a very relevant topic for certain things going on in the world. And this is written before the Time's Up movement and stuff like that. And that's one thing I like about horror movies. There's a lot more you can say about that, but the Strode women are strong. I like her estranged relationship with her daughter. Her husband, Ray, is hilarious. I felt sad when he died, but I like Allison. Andy Matichek played a good role, like I said earlier in my non-spoiler review segment. And yeah, I really like the part where she gets chased. They had the guy that looks like Bart from Stranger Things getting killed. That motion tracking thing was just nuts with the lights. The dance part didn't bother me. I like her friend, though, with the kid. That kid was hilarious in the babysitting part, and it was intense. The only thing I don't like about this film is the evil doctor killing the sheriff. That scene just came out of left field. Was it going to be a second killer? Like, what's going on? And, I mean, it was effective, but why the hell do that? Like, it was building up so much momentum with Michael Myers that it really almost killed the film for me. If it wasn't for Jamie Lee Curtis or that final fight, it really would have killed the film for me, because I love the first half of this film. First half of this film is just like a straight John Carpenter-esque type of movie, and in the second half just takes some plot decisions that just feel off. I almost feel like certain moments move really fast, like they might have cut some sequences out of this movie to shorten it for time. I don't know, something about it just does not flow. It's weird because films like H2O or Halloween 4 are shorter than this, but they feel like they're longer narrative-wise. It feels like it has a better flow. Something just doesn't jive in some parts of that movie. But I love how he wanted him to say something. He just said Judith Myers got triggered. The guy's like, say something, and Michael Myers just silently just gives like a fuck you look and then stomps his head. That was awesome. That was brutal. The whole stab in the throat. The kills in this are just so damn brutal. Oh, how did I forget this? The investigative journalist, that bathroom scene, oh my god. Like in H2O, there's a bathroom scene, and then he just took the car and left. He freaking killed these people. Took a guy's teeth out, put it down, killed them. That was a brutal, brutal scene, and I love that moment where he puts his mask on. Such an epic moment, and then just like, boom. Next scene. And I love Laurie looking for Michael on this night. Oh, the nighttime scenes are done so well. And going to that final showdown, I love Judy Greer's performance in this and how she starts to kind of believe her mother now. Like, now is a time to believe it. And I really thought they were going to kill Laurie Strode, man. Michael came through the door after killing Ray, hitting her head against the door. I thought she was dead, and then boom, shoots his freaking hand off. That fight was great. The mechanisms and trap doors she set in her house were fantastic. And that final fight was really nerve-wracking. And certain parallels to the original. Not only earlier in the gas station, kind of like the gas station in 4, but we had Michael in the background in certain places like the original. The whole part where Allison's with her friends on the sidewalk, like Laurie and her friends in the original. But on that final fight, Laurie is slashed with a knife, kicked off a roof. You think she's down. Michael Myers sees she disappears, much like Michael in the original. And that reveal was so great, where you thought he was going to get the daughter, and she baited him to that trap. And then Jamie Lee Curtis comes out of the shadows like Michael Myers in the original. It's just like, Happy Halloween, Michael. Beautiful ending. Burning up, like in Halloween 2. But we didn't see a body burn up, so is he dead or not? I kind of hope he is. But it would have been more satisfying if we saw him blow up or get burned. But I love that final frame at the end with them together surviving this horrible, horrific night. I really loved the final fight, but it just felt a little short, and it wasn't as epic as the H2O fight. Even though she was stronger, I liked it. Something about it just underwhelmed me. And yeah, overall though, it's one of the better Halloween films, and I just hope they don't get greedy with making the same thing with Michael Myers, unless they make it as good as this one, if not better. But hey, with John Carpenter back doing the score, Michael Myers acting more brutal, Laurie Strode back, everything felt like a true successor. And even though there are some flaws with the film, I have to say, this is kind of like the Halloween film we wanted. It's not as good as what it could have been, you know? You had all the elements there, it's just the execution of it was a bit off. But yeah, those are my thoughts of the film. I love those moments of the film. I'm a bit kind of mixed on it, but still, it was a worthy successor to Halloween. And when it comes out on Blu-ray, I wouldn't mind watching the original 78 film and this one back to back. So yeah, 7 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5, and a B+. That is it for my thoughts and review of Halloween. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You've seen it since you've seen this review right now, and let me know what some of your favorite moments are down in the comments below. And feel free to be on the lookout for my Halloween ranking on Halloween. Anyways, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Here are some more videos you can enjoy on my channel. Everyone's entitled to one good scare for Halloween.